Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another week of more Doctor Who in this show we call Shouting Into the Void, which is slowly becoming more and more relevant. We're gonna get to the point soon of the title, at least. But yeah,
Oh, I just got the title.
oh, nice, smart. You're such a big fan. Um, so this week, every week we follow Doctor Who. Obviously, it's not on at the minute, so we're going back and looking at, not Classic Who. Oh, I almost called it Classic Who because it feels like it is, because it was 15 years ago this series aired. But yeah, we're going through New Who, which started in 2005. We've done series 1, and we're now on episode 2 of series 2, Tooth and Claw. Which, as it's basically the 10th Doctor's second adventure, if you don't count Christmas Invasion. And it sees him and Rose accidentally turn up in 1875, I think it is.
1879, something like that. I feel like I wrote it down.
Because they
1879.
Because they tried to go to a concert and they missed it, and they ended up in Victorian England. Sorry, Victorian Scotland, to be more precise. And yeah, they join good old Queen Vic in her, not even in a carriage. They're forced to walk, I think. They join Queen Vic on her journey to a house called the Torchwood House, I guess.
Torchwood House, something like that.
Which I'm sure won't come up ever again.
Nope.
Where something seems a little bit off. And naturally, it's a Doctor Who episode, so there are going to be hijinks, escapades, and some spooks. So yeah, what did you think of the episode?
I really enjoyed it. I always remembered really liking this one. I once again really liked this one. Particularly when the wolf itself shows up, I think it gets really, really good. Because I think like the first 10 minutes or so, it's a lot of setup, granted. A lot of them just chatting nonsense at dinner. Especially when it's obvious a wolf is gonna appear. You know, it's in the title. We've seen the trailers. Yeah. And then they mention like the story of the wolf like 3,000 times. But yeah, I really, really love this one. Always have, probably always will. And yeah, classic little Doctor Who adventure. Nothing too crazy apart from what it later on like sets up. But regardless, very, very enjoyable.
Yeah, I think I did enjoy this one. Obviously, it's not. I don't think I like it as much as you do, but I definitely consider this to be one of the most underrated episodes, I guess, of of New Who.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't think of this as one of my. I wouldn't go back and watch this as itself. I've only ever sort of rewatched it when I've been rewatching the show as a whole. But upon rewatching it, I rather enjoyed it. I just thought it was just its self-contained thing. Like, you didn't have to know. I mean, there's a little bit towards the end, but you didn't have to know, the show to watch it. This was one of the ones where you could literally just be channel hopping on a Saturday night and come across it and think, oh, this looks fun. I'll sit and watch. Yeah. And that's what it was. It was fun, and I sat and watched. So our natural format for this is we try and pick out 3 positives and 3 negatives. We always start with the positives, and we always start to slowly descend into the negatives of every Doctor Who episode.
Which, not always that slowly.
Yeah, sometimes it's quicker than others. I mean, we've already had plenty of examples already, and there's only going to be more. But I'm sure this one will be more of a positive than a negative for at least both of us. So we'll sort of kick off with your first sort of positive of the episode.
The Doctor and Rose is my first one. I think this is like the Doctor companion dynamic I wish every Doctor and companion could have. I think this is probably peak Doctor and Rose enjoyment for me. It isn't all like, oh, we're soulmates, we're so in love. They're just having a laugh together. There's a lot of chemistry between them, I think. And I really, really liked Rose in this episode, with the exception of they had to keep that running gag going, and people had just been eaten and torn apart, and she's like, oh, I bet you're not amused now, Mom. I was like, I like that Victoria's like, listen here, bitch. Now is not the time and place for this. Because I was like, that is so inappropriately timed. But apart from that, I think this might be the best Rose has ever been for me. I really enjoyed her. David Tennant and Billie Piper clearly work so well together. I do like the idea of the running joke trying to get Victoria to say, I'm not amused. They just bounce off each other really well. They can have a lot of laughs, and just the camaraderie between them, I think, is the best it kind of has ever been. I think this is the most, like, rewatching the show from the start till now, this is the most I've enjoyed a Doctor and companion kind of relationship.
Yeah. One of my best is also David Tennant, Billie Piper, Tennant Rose. So I'll bundle in on your point.
Bundles.
And yeah, I sort of, from the first scene that they're in this episode in the TARDIS, where they're like dancing to the music and the Doctor's singing and they're sort of having fun traveling through time, I just thought you don't see that as much through the series. You get it every now and then, but you never kind of see the normal, I guess, what stuff's like when they're not out and about. So I enjoyed that. And this is because obviously David Tennant, Billie Piper, up until now, David Tennant wasn't in much of the Christmas Invasion. Billie Piper was a different person in most of the past episode. So this is the first time we've properly been able to see them as a companion and Doctor, at least with the 10th Doctor. Because even in New Earth, they were kind of like still not sure because he'd just regenerated. This one, I think they've definitely been on more trips, so they're more used to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the whole running gag between her and Queen Vic, trying to get her to say that she's not amused, I enjoyed. It did annoy me slightly every now and then. I was like, bro, just wait. But
they really did go to town with that running gag.
Yeah. But I also appreciated that Rose trying to do her Scottish accent was quite funny. And the Doctor obviously saying, nah, you probably shouldn't do that. Soz.
I've got a fun fact about that, so stay tuned, folks.
But yeah, you could tell that it's strange because this is the second episode, and I don't know when it was filmed. So for it could be that it was at the end of their shooting, so they've had more time to get to know each other at this point. But you could tell it felt as if they'd been working together for a while in this. And I bought the dynamic, and I think this is the sort of start of their their proper romantic relationship, I think. Because you get that, I think, in a sense. I thought it in the telescope room the first time round, it does look like they're a couple just trying to have a laugh rather than
when she's trying to get Victoria to say you're not amused, he's like, what are you like?
Yeah. And so I kind of noticed that, even if it's not a nitpick, but I'm going to bring it up now. His coat looks too big in that scene. And I didn't notice.
Here we go.
I know, but I didn't know. And I
thought we moved on from clothing nitpicks.
Well, I thought this in New Earth as well. I thought his jacket's too big. Like when he put it on outside the hospital, and I saw
he's a skinny boy.
I know.
All jackets look too big.
I know. And then so it looked, but obviously they eventually worked that out. It's not something that I noticed the first time around, and it was only now because I was sort of properly paying attention. But they do sort his outfit out, and it does become more form-fitting, I guess. But anyway, yeah, David Tennant, Billie Piper, Tennant Rose, top-tier companion team in this one, and they're not my, it's not my favorite Tennant companion couple. I prefer Ten and Donna. I probably prefer Ten and Martha, to be fair.
Yeah.
Over Ten and Rose on the whole, but in this episode, they really do demonstrate what a Doctor and companion can be, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess in that case, we'll jump on to your second point. What is it?
The werewolf.
That's mine.
The wolf boy. Big hairy wolf boy.
Yeah.
Host boy. I think I always like it when Doctor Who tackles like a classic like monster, like witches, etc. And put like their Who spin on it. So I like this idea that, alien crash landed kind of like a virus and it just latched on to people. Yeah, sorry, I mentioned the V word. And latches on to people, as generations pass, it kind of grows into more of this actual like classic werewolf kind of thing. I feel like for the most part, it didn't look terrible. I was scared the CGI was going to be like, oh no, that's definitely not there. I do think I had a few issues with like CGI Celine, like very inconsistent in how it moved and like how quick it could be depending on what the story needed it to be able to do. But it didn't bother me as much because there wasn't like a practical werewolf costume to compare it with. But yeah, I thought it was very tense. It was a cool, unique kind of threat. The shots of it at the end when it's at the end of a corridor all the time, I thought it looked really creepy. I love the bit where it's in the roof and like a bit of the glass like comes down and you're like, oh boy, that always kind of terrified me. And yeah, it was just a really fun idea for like a one-off villain. Obviously, it's not something you could really do again, but I feel like they did the most. Well, not without feeling a bit too. I mean, I guess they have had werewolves in classic series, but it was a different.
Yeah, and they did say that the current royal family's werewolves, so they could, in theory, bring it back. Not with the current.
But I kind of have an issue with that. That's
okay. All right. Okay.
But yeah, I just thought Wolf Boy was a really fun little one-off villain, and he's not really the villain. It's more so the monks that trained him, blah blah blah, worship him. But the monks are rubbish. So yeah, I really enjoyed the werewolf.
Yeah, that's fair. I've put werewolf / creepy man.
Because, he's a really good actor, actually.
Yeah, because although the werewolf I think looked great, and we complained about the CGI last episode, I think it's much better in this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the bloke that turns into the werewolf was horrifying.
The moon.
Yeah, just his accent
the moon.
and just the way he was talking, and I was like, to be fair, in my notes to start with, I put, because obviously they all get shoved into the cellar and put in the box, and I went, so they screamed at a poor man in a cage, because obviously it's not a werewolf at that point.
That was strange.
But maybe they took it open and he was there like
with the black eyes,
with his black eyes, and like, oh my god, because he does look normal, and then the black eyes come in and it's like, hang on a minute, he doesn't look like he's a good boy.
Hang
on. Yeah, super creepy, and I like how they made it alien, but also it's sort of in the world. Like they just explained it somewhat fine. They used a lot of scientific words, but again, it's a sci-fi show with its own rules, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But I like that it came to Earth, and its sort of purpose is to eventually somehow take over and have an empire. Which I don't know if this is the right way it should have gone about it, but whether it's its decision or not is also up for debate, whether it's the monks or the werewolf, or where the werewolf is just a tool to be used by the monks, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the design of it, even if it is just, your standard kind of werewolf, I guess. And yeah, there's a number of good shots, I think, in this, where obviously it howls at the moon at the start. I thought was a cool shot. Obviously, it's very good for the trailer. When it like sniffs at the candle, also very good for the trailer, but a very good shot. And I just enjoyed the villain a lot. It's creepy. The bloke was creepy. The transformation scene was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, I know most of it was CGI rather than sort of what they did with the gas mask, which seemed a bit more practical. But
yeah, Richard Wilson can just do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't remember how like terrifying the transformation was, but it was, the bones were cracking.
It's quite graphic, actually.
It was, and like the cheeks pop out and you see the veins, and I was like, that, and his mouth elongates, and I'm like, no, that's horrifying in the first place, let alone the black eyes. And I liked that the doctor was like interested. He wasn't like scared of it. He was like, I want to know what this is. I want to figure out about it. It looks great, and I think given the opportunity, he didn't want to kill it because it's a creature that isn't able to help itself, really. But yeah, the werewolf, top tier villain, I guess.
Wolf Boy,
good Wolf Boy. Right, so we've had 2 for 2. Are we going to make it 3 for 3? What's your third?
I don't know. I just liked that this feels like the most iconic kind of style of Doctor Who storytelling that we get. It's like a classic base under siege story. In a way, I feel like New Who hasn't quite done up to this point. Or at least this feels like the most like a classic formula.
Yeah.
And I've always really enjoyed that. So I just put like the base under siege feel. It feels like a classic Doctor Who tale with Doctor and Companion at their best. And the fact that it's quite tense because they're like in a confined space, they can't get out, trapped with this creature. but I also feel like they didn't make it too like continually scary all the way through, because then that probably would have been like a bit too much, a bit too unwatchable if it's so constant terror. So yeah, I just like the base end of Siege feel that the episode had.
Yeah, this is basically Dalek but with a werewolf.
Yeah.
And you get the fact that anyone could die at any minute because, but to be fair, this is it's his guy's own fault when he's like, oh, we must have killed it, and then again I'm like, oh, you idiot, what were you expecting to happen?
Yeah.
But,
must have caused a way to die.
yeah.
Perfect.
And then you like hear it like squelch, like, oh. I'm like, oh Christ.
Wolf Boy was hungry.
Yeah, but yeah, I get what you mean. I do like the setting, and it is classic Doctor Who in a case of there's quite a few corridors in this house, which is strange, and quite a few staircases.
Yeah.
But it's an estate, it's a big mansion, so I guess you can get away with it. If they don't show the full house, then you're not restricted with how big it can be.
Exactly.
Which is a good way out. But yeah, I do agree that it's a good format for the show. And we haven't, as I mentioned, it's Dalek, but we only seen that once so far.
There's just something about these kind of stories that I really like. It's why I like Under the Lake and Before the Flood so much in Series 9 as well. It's the same kind of feel for me.
Yeah. And we don't get, I think this series, we might get another one in Satan Pit. An Impossible Planet, I guess, is kind of a similar one.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of it when it comes to that, I guess. Maybe Doomsday, but
Rose gets trapped somewhere.
Yeah, Rose always gets trapped somewhere. That's the thing. But yeah, so we didn't get 3 for 3 because my next best is Queen Victoria.
I very nearly put Queen Victoria. So that would have made this a very boring episode. So I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I told myself before this, I was like, oh, I'm going to look up the actress, but I didn't look up the actress.
I've got some fun facts about the actress.
Oh boy.
So don't worry.
Do you know what her name is?
Pauline Collins.
Wow, she's great in this. Pauline.
She is.
I was thinking before the episode, I was like, is it going to be campy? Are they going to play her up too much? And I think the fact that they were trying to get her to say the cliche line, I think that helped make her less cliche in a way, because everyone associates her with that line, but this showed her outside of it and showed that there's a more to the Queen than what people think. And you also see that in the dinner scene where she starts talking about her dead husband and how sort of sad she is.
Yeah.
And it also shows how sort of independent she was when she actually killed the head monk in the room when the
best
guards...
line of the episode. The correct form of address is Your Majesty. Excellent.
She just shoots her. She just shoots him. It's great. And yeah, I mean, throughout this episode, I don't get why she banishes the Doctor and Rose in the end, because it's not their fault. They did.
That was going to happen to her anyway.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't there, the werewolf was still going to be summoned and probably just kill her.
And then, yeah, she definitely would have been got by the werewolf if they weren't there.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever.
We needed the story arc to happen.
Yeah, we need. Yeah. But yeah, I just think she was a great addition. And I think Rusty Davies has a good run with putting historical figures in his episodes. Obviously, we've already had Charles Dickens, who was great. We've got Queen Victoria now. We're going to get Agatha Christie. We're getting
Shakespeare.
We're getting Shakespeare and kind of Queen Elizabeth I, I guess. So I just think that, and then even with Moffat, we get a good Winston Churchill. But yeah, Queen Victoria in this episode was just, I mean, everyone as well, or almost everyone in terms of the guest cast was pretty good. One of my sort of ones that I almost put into my positive was Sir Robert, the bloke that owns the house, who I guess his last name is Torchwood. Is it? Because it's his house.
I don't.
Is his name Sir Robert Torchwood? Because on IMDb he's just named as Sir Robert.
I don't know if Sir Robert Torchwood.
Yeah, I mean they've not. It doesn't say, but it's his house, and normally if you're that rich, it would be the house would be named after you, wouldn't it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, but if no one can correct me otherwise, his name is Sir Robert Torchwood.
That's your headcanon.
Yeah, but yeah, he was good. I think he had a really good arc as well. I mean, not that he was forced into this situation, but he tried to not have the Queen stay. He tried in a subtle way to get out of it, and then in the end, he made a noble sacrifice. to save his wife and his annoying housemaid, who we'll come on to shortly.
Okay.
But yeah, I think most of the guest cast in this was good. Queen Victoria was the highlight of it, though, for me. And I'm gutted we only see her once. I wouldn't mind her coming back, but never
Pauline,
mind.
what are you doing?
I didn't want to say that just in case she's dead. I was like,
I'm pretty sure she's alive.
Well, let's hope so.
I'm going to find out.
If not, you just made a big blunder, my friend.
No, because I didn't. I wasn't correctly informed.
You weren't aware. You can change your opinion.
She's still alive.
Yay! Get her in.
She's 80.
Oh, maybe not then.
Married to John Alderton, who I recognise the name of, but I don't know why. Oh, he's Fireman Sam. How about that?
Oh, there you go. But yeah, I think she was great in this, and a really good guest character, and a really good sort of. It expanded the lore somehow, and I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Was there any sort of other best points you wanted to add on before we move into the negatives?
I don't think so. Those are like the main ones.
Fair enough. Wow, in that case, time for our worst points of the episode. What is your first?
The opening scene.
Oh, no! Not the karate.
On principle, I don't... It feels like, I've had this idea for an action set piece. Let's crowbar it into an episode this season. I don't know where. We'll fit it in somewhere. Yeah, cold open, boom. It looks like when they have the BBC logo before a TV show starts, like when they introduce the program, it looks like one of those things.
Yeah.
I just think it's so bizarre. It feels like a completely different show and a completely different episode to what happens after the credits. It feels like it's shot in like more HD than the rest of the episode is.
Yeah.
I think it's very badly shot. I'm sorry. The rest of the episode's fine, but it's so
when it
zoomed
to
in.
Its side and
it's all like there's too many zooms in. Like there's one bit where it's so zoomed in on one of the guys. When he like bends down to do like his move, he disappears from the frame. So it's just a blurry background of the house for a few frames. I'm like, what is that? And yeah, it's just so OTT.
Don't
the
you like
music
when they throw the sticks and then they're in the air for like 30 seconds and then they catch them again?
It's like the Feast of Man. And he's like, oh, what? And
he doesn't even do anything. He stands in the
background. He just stands there. And the fact that they're like dressed in red and everything, it just seems so weird.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they then never behave like that again for the rest of the episode. It would have been so bloody useful for when Queen Victoria arrives, they all just do that shit again, knock them all out and say, there you go, Wolf, take a chunk on that. But they don't. Their plan was stupid. So yeah, that whole opening sequence, it's fine. I can deal with it. It's so bloody bonkers and like it's just style over substance because it just doesn't make sense for how the monks then later behave because they're so much more subtle and calm and it's just weird.
Yeah, I think that cold open is for people that are still making their cup of tea and they've missed the starts. They need to come in just as the title starts, I think. Yeah, I guess they just needed to show how they overpowered the staff at the house. And I guess with cool karate and sticks. That's how they did it. I'll tell you what then, and it might lead into some more of your negatives because the opening scene isn't one of my worsts, but one of my worsts is the monks themselves. They just don't do anything.
No.
They have that whole opening scene and then they cut up some stuff to make the guards go to sleep.
Why didn't they just use that on everyone? Yeah. If you can do that, use it on Victoria and say, hey, Wolf, have a chunk of that.
You're serving them dinner in the first place.
You have like everything you need for a perfect crime, and then they don't do it.
Yeah, and then I don't know what they do with the guards. They just leave them on the floor.
I don't know. I guess the Welsh just takes chunks out of all these
unless he eats them.
Guards.
Yeah, as he goes along. Yes, they knock them out with stuff, and then they have time to make their mistletoe garlands. Because they
And what the hell happens to the guards with the guns outside? They would never see him again after they're introduced.
I was like, what? Like, and at the end, what happens to the monks? Because they get rid of the werewolf, but where do the monks go?
We don't know.
They've just gone. That's it.
They'll have to steal another
Not there.
poor boy somewhere, I imagine.
Well, I guess because maybe Victoria's a werewolf, they're
Yeah.
just sort of waiting because they know that she knows that she's the werewolf, so they're waiting. Maybe, but then
They
surely
just needed a way to make sure, like, oh, why don't you just leave the house?
Yeah.
And they like do that, and then we never see them again.
Yeah. That's strange.
And the main monk guy is dead like 20 minutes into the episode anyway.
Yeah, he's the coolest monk. He looks the most menacing.
Yeah.
And then they kill him. It's a cool idea, but it feels shoehorned into this episode. It feels like they wanted a werewolf, but they didn't know how to get the werewolf into the house. So they needed to come up with this, and they needed to come up with a single line of dialogue that says, "Oh yeah, the monks do whatever they either they use the monks or the werewolf is using the monks, however it was." Because the werewolf hints that he came to Earth to purposely use the planet, but then I think the Doctor says that the monks are using the werewolf. Maybe they're both using each other.
It's a trap for the Queen, but actually it's a trap for the wolf.
Yeah,
There's a lot going on.
And then how did the husband know that the monks were a thing? If they so the monks are a negative.
Yeah,
I like the opening sequence as an opening sequence. I don't think it fits with the episode.
No, if this was Cobra Kai or something like that, fine. Yeah. But Doctor Who and a werewolf story, what a weird way to open it.
Or if it was just an episode about some medieval monks that were taking over a house, I guess that would also be fine. Yeah. But and then they just stand there outside the house for the rest of the episode and don't do anything.
It's true.
It's fine, I guess. So my first is the monks. What's your next?
Okay, this kind of tie into a few complaints I've already talked about.
Yeah.
I feel like this suffers the same thing as New Earth. I feel like the kind of conflict and the problem to solve is just too overwritten and too much going on.
Oh, by the way, we have this diamond.
I've put I don't mind that so much because that literally did exist.
Yeah.
But I've put the plot feels overwritten and underwritten at exactly the same time. Right. It's very strange. I feel like the wolf, the fact that they give it like proper goals and stuff. Oh, I want all this empire. I'm like, well, you achieved that. What then? What are you gonna do? You're gonna get bored after 5 minutes. Like, I feel like we didn't need that. It could have just been the monks want to kill the Queen. It's just an assassination attempt. Like they don't believe in royalty or something. We're going to kill the Queen. Let's unleash a werewolf on it. Very crazy and probably over complex, but not as complex as what this episode's made it to be. So I thought that was strange. What the hell happened to the monks outside? And then they end purposely very vague about, are the royal family werewolves? Did Victoria, because she shrugged off that cut, did she actually get bit and she's just keeping it hidden? When earlier in the episode she said, I'd rather destroy myself than let that creature attack me and bite me. So I'm like, doesn't that undermine the ending then? Because she must just be fine, because she'd rather just say, oh, kill me if I've been scratched. But she didn't. So maybe she's fine. Then they joke about Princess Anne and the royal family. So that's a mixed message as well, and it kind of undermines that. And the problem is just a bit too much going on. And why monks?
One of mine is, when did the Queen get bit? Because watching that scene, the mouth of the werewolf goes nowhere near the Queen, unless maybe he transferred it via scratch, but then that takes away the whole point. I don't really mind that the Queen says she's fine if she is a werewolf, because either the werewolf is already manipulating her mind to think that it's fine, or she genuinely doesn't think she got bit. And until later in her life when that starts to happen, because he does say it could just be one cell of the werewolf or something like that, which eventually grows into the whole thing. Which is why I think they could bring it back with quote unquote a future monarch maybe becoming a werewolf. I don't know. But yes, I it does seem to be, because I don't mind the diamond there, but it does feel like they just use it to get out of it, because it's kind of hinted at the start, but then it's by the way,
a lot of what they need to fix a problem happens years before the episode starts with Robert's dad and Prince Alfred. It's a bit okay.
It's all very convenient that they've managed to end up in the one room where they can figure it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So one of my other worst is the point of view werewolf shots.
Right.
I just thought they were a bit cheap.
Mhm.
I get that they are cheap. That's why they're used, because it's you just get a camera and you just put a filter on it and it's fine. You've got a point of view frame.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I just saw them, I was like, we don't need to see this go. You don't need to see them running at someone's scared face. Just I don't know. Just do it. Just have it another way. Don't include it. It's just unnecessary padding. I think
Yeah.
it didn't make me more scared of the werewolf to see this.
No.
The werewolf was scary, because of the man, and because of those bits where you don't see the werewolf's point of view, like when he picked the bloke up to start with.
When it's like running around the outside of the room they're trapped in, you can like hear it running.
Yeah, and even like when Sir Robert died and the werewolf's running at him, and you get that point of view shot. Like, how close did he get to Sir Robert before like he slashed and stuff? It just didn't make sense, physically wise. But I guess that's slightly a nitpick on my point. But I just thought it was kind of unnecessary and a bit of padding for the episode.
Yeah.
Not that I was bored during them. Not that I didn't like think, oh, skip it. But if you wanted to trim it down and give maybe more emphasis on the story, more stuff to the monks, maybe, give them more scenes and more things to do rather than these point of view shots, I thought that would have been time better spent. But
yeah,
never mind. So what's your potentially final worst bit?
Yeah, this is my last one. It's very nitpicky, but because it's the big climactic moment, I felt like I could nitpick it.
Uh-huh.
The Doctor perfectly sliding the diamond into the beam in exactly the right position. It stops perfectly just as the wolf comes in and is about to like attack the Queen. I just thought, well, isn't that bloody convenient? Yeah, he would be very good at bowls. Maybe he is good at bowls. I don't know. But yeah, the fact that was like the thing that wins the day, I was like, oh, come on. It's very like Fear Her throwing the ship into the torch thing.
Oh, yeah, well, that's even worse. That one's even worse. That is even worse.
Yeah. So it's just, foreshadowing. Ooh, it's not foreshadowing. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit,
Yeah.
But that is the nitpick, and I did have to struggle to kind of come up with the third negative like that.
Well, so. I didn't really struggle with mine. It's Flora.
Is this just because you probably got her a lot in battles in time cards?
No. First of all, how long was she hiding in that cupboard for without making any noise? I'm like, what? You've been there for at least a day. Surely,
at least it had been a while to be fair,
in that cupboard. So that
again, the monks being useless, like not realizing they didn't get everyone.
And then she just does nothing the whole episode. She's the reason why Rose gets captured in the first place. To start with, and then like she's just so whiny throughout the whole thing. It's as if they created her and then went, oh, she's not that likable. We'll actually give all of the stuff to the lady of the house,
Isabel,
and get her to do more of the heroic stuff.
Yeah.
But either way, and I thought this, I'm like, there's a lot of, although we've got Queen Victoria and Rose, who are quite strong female characters, the other female characters in this are very like weak. Especially Flora's a big one. I guess I didn't even know the name Isabel. I didn't know Isabel, it was. Yeah. But she's okay, but she's not the best because she's still relying on the men to save her, even if she does come and save them at one point. But she's still sort of, oh, save me, you can help get rid of the werewolf, you do it. But I guess that's also the time, which is fine, I guess.
And Robert wouldn't have allowed her to get involved anyway.
No. But yeah, specifically Flora, I just thought she was just the worst. Because
I did not predict that at all.
Well, I mean, the writers must have known it because she's literally in the start of the episode, and then they don't use her again. Yeah. In the rest of it, she's just someone there to maybe ask questions of Isabel.
Yeah, she's there to get Rose captured, basically. That's
it, and I guess it's fine, but yeah, she just wasn't. She wasn't on the top list. She's nowhere near like a Kathika level of terrible character, but she just feels like she doesn't add anything. And I guess that's the worst kind of character you can be if you don't add anything to the story.
I guess, yeah.
Sorry, Flora. I'm sure you're a nice person, but
sorry, monks. Sorry, Flora.
Yeah, sorry. So that was my last sort of worst. But one of my nitpicks is, so the wolf couldn't get into the room because of the mistletoe in the doors. so he had to go through the roof. So then how can he open the doors to get back out?
Yeah, so he's trapped in there with the mistletoe now.
I'm like, surely it works the other way.
Yeah, I thought that as well.
But never mind. It's fine.
It got over it. It got covered in
yeah.
water. He realised it wasn't scared. Although that was
Yeah.
probably afterwards, but still.
I'm just seeing if I've got any other nitpicks. I don't think there was too much.
Flora!
Yeah.
Why is Flora here?
I didn't. To be fair, I didn't. It was only afterwards I thought, yeah, Flora wasn't great. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we are. I've written Flora is so pessimistic because she's constantly like, "Oh, we're gonna die. We're gonna die." I'm like, do something to
same.
help them. Yeah.
I'd be exactly the same.
Yeah, so would I. But come on.
Not in my Doctor Who episode.
Got the point. I'm just going over my sort of quick notes then before we get into your fun facts. One of mine just says, Rose watches a man be horrifically mauled. Because she does. Yeah. She watches is it the captain, I think? When he helps him get into
and
the library.
She enjoys it.
She just stands there and goes, I'm like, why are you watching?
Get in here, god damn it.
Also, obviously David Tennant's using his proper accent in this. But to me it feels more so. It feels exaggerated Scottish, and obviously he is Scottish, but
wow,
it does. Do you not think?
I mean, that is his natural voice.
No, I know, but I know what his normal voice sounds like, but to me it just sounded too. And maybe he did exaggerate it for effect, and also maybe it's the fact that we heard his Doctor voice to his Scottish voice. Maybe that also helps make it seem more. But what can you do? I've got this about the monk opening. When they break into the kitchen, I've written, one does an unnecessary roll over the table.
Yes, I'd forgotten about that.
Because one runs around, the other goes, what?
It's so balmy. Like, why are you doing parkour and all that nonsense?
Just go away.
Do what you need to do.
And then, I did write, sometimes David's coat looks big on him. And I liked at the dinner scene where the captain was like laughing at the Queen, and she was like, "Shut the fuck up, you bitch!
Pipe down, get off my ass."
He was like, just stop sucking up to me, or I will have you removed from the dinner table." I was like, "Oh, all right."
And then it was his last meal.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh," because I also liked him. I thought he was a good character as well.
Yeah.
And again, at Noble End, I'm gutted we didn't get to see more of him. Because he wasn't really a useful captain because he got knocked out straight away. But what can you do? Queen Victoria kills a man, which was something. And then in all caps I put, remember Bad Wolf? Because obviously that's mentioned because for some reason the wolf knows that.
Yeah.
Because
you burned like the sun.
I know. I'm like, why would you? How do you know?
Alien, innit?
Yeah, if you're alien, I guess you know. I did put captain equals best boy. And then right after, Rose watches a man be horrifically murdered.
Rose watches best boy be horrifically murdered.
I liked how the Queen noticed that the 10th Doctor stopped using the Scottish accent. I liked that they picked up on that, and I liked the choice that they made that he would stop it and he would forget, which is fine. I like the wolf on the roof reveal, and then I put, but how does it get out?
Yeah.
Because again, you see the Doctor.
That should have been episode over.
Well, that's it. You see the Doctor shut the doors, but then he's like, "Whoops, he's opened it." I'm like, "How? How can you touch it?" And then also with the cinematography, I like the 10th Doctor and the wolf with the door frame in the middle of them.
Bit of foreshadowing there.
Oh, there was
the Doctor and Rose,
because
they compared Rose to the wolf.
Yeah, with the wolf.
And I can actually count that as foreshadowing now, I think, because they knew Rose was leaving at the end of this series.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the stuff, it's like, oh, wow, that's foreshadowed. Russ T Davies made it up as he went along. But with this, I think because he could plan it.
Yeah.
So I kind of give them that was probably a bit of foreshadowing potentially.
Yeah, which is obviously a big part of the end when she knights him and banishes him and sets up Torchwood. That's literally directly related to the finale. Which obviously
it's almost going to be even more directly related.
Oh, Christ.
But we'll find out how very soon.
Okay. Why does she blame the Doctor? And the other one, she said something like how much longer you might survive, or think how much longer you might survive. I was like, that's survive also some nice...
terrible life.
Yeah, I also
Leave my world and never return.
Yeah, it's a little bit over the top, but it's effect. It's fine. And then right at the end is Sir Robert's last name, Torchwood, because again, it's the Torchwood estate and Torchwood House. Happy to be corrected on that, obviously. But
I feel like it's like, or maybe that was the Doctor's alias, actually.
I think she does call it at the start. It's the Torchwood estate, because I've written down there in quotes Torchwood estate. So that must, and again, if it's something estate, it normally means that was their last name.
Let's see if we can.
No, I bet no one will find out.
Goddamn answers.
I bet even TARDIS Wiki, TARDISpedia, is it?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Father Angelo is the main monk boy.
Yeah, I remember that. I got him a lot in Battles in Time.
Robert McLeish is McLeish.
Oh yeah. That makes sense now. I remember his last name on the Battles in Time card.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was going to be on his Battles in Time card or not.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess those are my other little bits. So let's get into your fun facts.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Well, the first one, because we're recording this a bit earlier, so, well, it's still from Hello from the Past, basically, but earlier than we normally record this one. But as we record this, yesterday was the 15th anniversary of this airing.
Yay! See, we were close.
We were so close.
We're like a week off. We're like a few days off every time this series, and it's gonna piss me off to no end.
Yeah. Oh well. Never mind. The working title of this episode was Queen Victoria. Boring. This is the only time David Tennant uses his natural accent in the series. And then what's the other one? I get to keep mine.
I keep mine. That's right.
And then Pauline Collins, who played Queen Victoria, appeared nearly 40 years prior in The Faceless Ones. And her character was actually supposed to become a full-time companion because they liked her so much. She said no. And at the time this episode was broadcast, this was the longest gap an actor had between appearances on the show.
Well, what is it now?
It has since been bested by a random old man in the 11th hour.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's been broken a few times after that.
Yeah, I'll say Bernard Cribbins must surely be one of them, because wasn't he in like maybe the 7th, 6th Doctor's stories at some point, I think?
I'm sure everyone's been in it like 3 times at this point. The Doctor's alias that he gives to Queen Victoria was his old companion, Jamie McCrimmon, which I really like. Well, that's fun.
He's from Balamory, don't forget.
Yeah, from Balamory. Remember that fun show?
From that CBB show.
What's the story in Balamory?
All the colourful houses.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't. All those Tories.
Oh wow. And then this one was a funny one to read because it's hilariously vague and they don't really go into any more detail.
Right.
But at one point during filming, Billie Piper's hair caught on fire. They never explain how. They never mention how, but it happened. So that's fun.
There's not even much fire in this episode.
That's what I was thinking. Like, it must be like a
been
candle
on
or something.
Yeah.
Somewhere. Yeah.
She must have been running down the corner and gone, oh no.
There you go. And then initially the Doctor and Rose was both supposed to put on the Scottish accents, but Billie Piper's was so terrible, they rewrote it. So it was just the Doctor, which I love. And then originally this story was meant for a freelance writer, but they completely ignored what Russell wanted for this story and instead set it in Buckingham Palace and had an alien insect get inside Queen Victoria's eye. So they were like, screw that idea, bye. And Russell just wrote it himself.
It's basically the same thing, but okay, Russell.
Well, it's not in the past.
Yeah, but it's Queen Victoria, so surely it was.
I think there was like some weird time travel.
Oh, okay.
Weird. Anyway, maybe they couldn't get in Buckingham Palace.
Oh, surprise.
And then the last one, Russell T Davies actually considered killing Queen Victoria in this episode, having the wolf actually succeed and kill her. And this was the event that created the parallel universe that was seen multiple times in this series. But he decided to drop the idea because he thought viewers may find it a bit too hard to follow.
Yeah, I think so.
There you go.
I guess. Yeah, I guess that would have been a bit confusing, especially if they're kids. But again, at the same time, kids will accept anything. So
true. Propaganda.
Exactly. Some pretty fun facts there. I'm pretty happy that none of the potential stuff happened. That we got this episode instead. But yeah, so what out of 10? I know you liked it a fair bit. What are you going to give it?
I'm torn between an 8 and 8.5. I mean, I did notice a lot more nitpicky stuff watching it this time around with like the monks and stuff. So I think I'll just give it a solid 8.
Fair enough. Mine is a solid 7, I
Nice.
think. Because like I mentioned at the start, I enjoyed it, but it's not my favorite episode from the series. That I can remember at least. But it has been my favorite of the 2 we've watched so far. So there we go. It's I know there's better coming. Speaking of better coming,
next week,
literally next week, I think is one episode that I vividly remember. I remember getting the episode as a disc from like The Sun. They used to give out episodes, and it would be in like a little slip. And I got
my first ever Doctor Who toy the day this episode aired.
I
got the Doctor and Remote Control Canine from Argos. And I was like, I don't know who this stupid little dog is, but I'll find out later today.
I'll find out this evening. It's fine. The next episode is School Reunion, where we have some reunions in a school. It sees.
I get the title.
It sees the Doctor and Rose infiltrate secondary school in, I guess, London. After Mickey has sort of phoned them up and said, "Hey, it looks a bit fishy." So we also get Mickey back in this episode, which is a positive, I think. And the big reveals are not really reveals; they're revealed in the coming soon. But in the next time trailer, we get Elizabeth Sladen is back as Sarah Jane. Obviously, we only just at time of filming, it was the anniversary of her death a couple of days ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 19th, I think.
Which is quite sad. But obviously, from what I remember, she was great in this episode, as she is in all of the episodes. We also get the return of K9, which we saw, which I'm super excited about because, and even at the time, like I didn't know much of Classic Who, but I was like, hey, K9 looks like a cool character, and he is a cool dog. He is a good boy.
Yes. We get Giles from Buffy as the baddie.
And we get Anthony Head returning into another sci-fi fantasy series TV show.
Only like 2 years after Buffy ended, as it turns out.
Yeah, and then after this, he goes into... after this? I think so. Didn't Merlin start in 2007?
2008, I think.
Yeah, so after this, he goes into Merlin as well.
Hell yeah. And we get Kenny.
Oh, yes. Don't forget Kenny.
The children.
Kenny blew up the school.
It was Kenny.
Kenny.
And he gets put in jail for blowing up the school very soon after the episode ends.
Yeah, I have fond memories of this episode. I assume you have fond memories of this episode?
Yeah, I remember really enjoying it. I feel like you don't even need to watch classic stuff or know too much about it to kind of understand the importance of like Sarah Jane and stuff. I feel like they really sell that. And yeah, I think a lot of it obviously is like nostalgia filled. If Sarah Jane and K9 weren't in this, it probably would just be like a standard affair Doctor Who kind of story. But it really elevates it, kind of bringing them into it. And it's like the first proper, like, okay, this is a continuation of Classic Who. So yeah, I remember really, really liking it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I know I like the dynamic between Sarah Jane and Rose in this episode as well. Yeah. So we'll see how I react to Rose in this, especially because Mickey's
Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, especially because Mickey's also back in this, so I'm interested to see how he does back with the Rose and Doctor. Because I know obviously after this he pisses off with them basically. So yeah, I remember liking it. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm very interested to see how well the CGI holds up in this one as well with the Krillitanes, because they're used a lot more than I think the werewolf was in this one.
Yeah.
And they're flying, so maybe it's just flying that Doctor Who can't do, because the CGI Dalek flying doesn't look great in Dalek. The flying cars in New Earth didn't look great. So maybe it's just things that aren't on the ground they struggle with. But we'll see. That'll be next week. So yeah, I guess come back then if you want to see that. If not, we're not going to force you. It's your own choice. So
maybe we can't force you. So
no, literally.
If I had the power to, I would.
We're not allowed people around people's houses now, so we can't. Even
shame that.
But hey, it's only a few more weeks, and then maybe we'll be doing this face to face.
how are we going to even do it?
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Are we going to face each other? Are we going to be facing a camera?
I don't know.
Who knows? Are we going to sit across the table anyway? Don't know. But it's fine.
Who cares?
We'll figure it out. But that's it from us this week, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Ow.